Time and time again, customers return to Honda for a number of reasons, but one of those top reasons is reliability. Honda models consistently top the charts for reliability, and it's a good reason why customers choose to stick with the brand. Now, Honda aren't silly. They know this and they know their audience, and that's why they create fuss-free cars that offer a practical but reliable package. This new third generation of Honda's HR-V SUV, which first started out back in 1998 as a boxy soft-roader marketed to the surfing types, and back then, before the world of SUVs, it stood out almost in a class of its own. This Mark I HR-V ran until the mid-2000s, where it disappeared for around 7 years, and then reappeared as a slightly more conventional crossover. This third version comes with what you might call a bold new look, and it aims for clean and simple lines and tries to ape the silhouette of a coupe. It's the latest fashion trend in the SUV world, don't you know? Hi, I'm Tish and welcome back to my channel, Auto Social UK. In today's video, I'm going to be getting up close and personal with the Honda HR-V, telling you everything you need to know from interior. You can literally sit with your head on the roof to how it drives. That really does save a lot of money when you compare it to some slightly less economical petrols, and to whether I think it's worth the money. If that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you do like new car reviews and car content, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's talk about something which I don't seem to share the opinion with compared to all the other car reviewers out there, and that's this car's design. For this generation, the HR-V now has a slightly squarer design as seen on the first generation. Most car reviewers out there praise the neat and tidy design.
I really like the look of this car actually.
We think the new HR-V looks absolutely fantastic.
It's not going to win awards at Pebble Beach, but it's easy on the eyes.
I'm, however, not as convinced. I understand its appeal to its target audience, but I just find it a tad dull. In fact, I'm not sure if any of you have seen, but they've actually just released the 2023 HR-V for Australia. And I think that that particular vehicle looks fantastic. It almost has an air of Ford Puma about it. Okay, it might not be to my taste, but let's face it, that's what's great about life. We all have different thoughts and opinions. What suits me might not necessarily suit other people. I mean, I really like the look of the Volkswagen Taigo, and you guys kind of tore that car apart, so perhaps I'm the one that's wrong. Perhaps this looks pretty sexy to you. Let me know down below what you think. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of things I do like about it. I like the slim headlights. I really like this chrome bar which runs along the front. And you know something else I love as well? Those wing mirrors. These wing mirrors are absolutely massive. I mean, they make me feel like I should be towing a caravan. And they're a little bit funny to start with, but then you realise they're actually ultra practical because you can see so much in your rear view mirror and you've got great rear visibility. I mean, I feel like every car should be fitted with wing mirrors that big. All versions of the HR-V come fitted with 18-inch wheels, which suit it just about right really. Anything bigger and I think you'd really suffer with the road noise. They're big enough to make it look pretty stylish, and you get it on all versions, including the entry-level car. And I think that 17s would make it look, I guess, just a little bit boring. Yeah, I like these. I spend what feels like my whole life in and out of SUVs and coupe SUVs. I guess you could say I've become a little bit of a connoisseur. I can almost take one look at the back of an SUV and tell whether I'm going to be impressed. And actually, the HR-V, I was impressed. There is a ton of legroom. This passenger seat is actually brought quite far forward, and I've still got a nice amount of knee space. They're carved outwards a little bit, so you've got even more room. And that driver's seat is in my position, and there is loads of room. Look at that, tons of space. There isn't the most amount of headroom. I'm 5'5", 5'6", and it's perfectly fine for me. But if you was any taller, then you might struggle. And also, if you're any shorter, small people might find these small rear windows a little bit claustrophobic. But because of those magic seats, you've got so much room. You can tuck things underneath the seats. It's really practical. And look at that as well, that low load tunnel. You've got loads of room for your leg space. I've also got a pull-out armrest. It doesn't feel the best quality, but I do have one with 2 cup holders. And the only real downside is the fact that there's not actually any door space in these doors. There's somewhere to pop a drink, but other than that, there's nowhere to pop bits and bobs. But when you've got a little bit of storage here and you've got nice big pockets, I can't see it being a problem. One thing that Honda are always very good for catering for is people that like to sit up nice and high in their vehicles. This might not be a 4x4, but you can drive like you have one. There's a lot of reach in the steering wheel as well. You've got extensions and it goes up and down as well, and then these seats. It might take a while because unfortunately they're not electrically adjusted. Yep, there we have it. I now have such a good view over the bonnet. I mean, it's definitely not how I would choose to drive a car, but I do know there are people out there who need to sit up high, who are a little bit shorter, and this would be great. The interior of the HR-V is a nice place to be. It doesn't feel particularly high quality for being the top spec car, but that being said, everything feels nice and well put together. You've got a soft touch dashboard, you've got a soft touch armrest. These seats, they do feel a little bit cheap, but actually when you kind of push them around, you can feel that they're going to last. They're not something that's going to collapse under pressure like I found in the new MG4. Everything feels really practical as well. Honda are very good at making practicality a key point in their cars, and that means that pretty much everything you need has a physical button. And that includes a lot of specification. You've got dual zone climate control, you've got adaptive cruise control, a heated windscreen, or at least not heated windscreen, but you've got heated washer jet parts, which is quite nice. You've got heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and they all have physical buttons. The climate control dials as well. And I love a little touch about these climate control dials that I don't think anybody would notice at first. And that's at night, as you turn them down and up, they give you a little subtle glow of a blue and red, which I think is quite sweet. Practicality in terms of space and storage is good as well. 2 cup holders, I've got a couple of cubby holes in front of the dashboard here. I've got some in the armrest, a decent sized glove box, including some snacks, which I definitely need to remember to take out because this car's being collected soon. It just feels a really practical and I guess logical place to be. So here's where the Honda HR-V falls short very slightly in practicality, and that's inside the boot. Inside here is 314 litres. Actually, in this top spec model, it's only 304. That's less than you'll get in something like a Peugeot 208 and a lot smaller than lots of practical SUVs. But come on now, it's not all about size, is it? It's about shape as well. And it's really practical in its shape. You've got a nice flat load bay, and actually, if I get this here, I can fit it lengthways. Plus, you also have the load cover, which is attached to the boot. And that means that you can sit things up on their end, and when you shut them, it doesn't actually affect the load area, which I think is fantastic. Plus, did you see that? An electric boot, which on this class of car is quite rare. The Honda HR-V gets a very similar hybrid setup as you'll find in the Jazz hatchback, and that's a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine and 2 electric motors, which when combined produce 129 brake horsepower, slightly more than the Jazz, and that's to accommodate for the real small uplift in size and weight of the vehicle. And when you compare it to other competitors, things like perhaps the Volkswagen Taygo or the Citroën C4, it has a very similar output, which feels more than capable at low speeds. And actually, this car outshines those vehicles because those are just petrols. The added hybrid system of the HR-V means that around town at low speeds, it feels quite peppy. It feels more powerful than its petrol counterparts. However, it falls into that classic trap of the hybrid engine because as soon as you need to push it hard or you need to go out on the motorway, that's when it loses its sparkle. It becomes quite noisy, it sounds quite strained. But actually, if you're only doing short journeys around town, then it's quite enjoyable. I'm really enjoying my time with this car, and it's only when I'm running late and I start to push it hard and need to get more out of the engine that I realise that this isn't going to be a vehicle for everyone. It really is for people who are perhaps a little bit relaxed, don't need to get anywhere in a hurry, but most of the time it's more than capable. But if it does sound to you like 129 brake horsepower just won't be enough, then unfortunately I'm out of options when it comes to the Honda HR-V because that is the only engine setup. It's only available in front wheel drive and it's only available in the CVT gearbox, which I just want to talk about for a second because it's been quite a controversial topic in the past. People have complained that they don't really like the gearbox. And actually, 90% of the time, I have no worries with it at all. It's a bit of a strange setup and I'm not going to get too much into it because I'll be honest, I don't really understand. But essentially, it simulates gears rather than actually changing gears. And because of that, the change is really smooth. You barely notice it at all, and that means it's quite enjoyable. But once again, if you want to put your foot down, it will hold onto that gear for ages and it will rev a lot, which is a bit of a shame because actually most of the time it's a really good car. It is only when you push it hard. I mentioned earlier about fuel economy, and let's talk about that a little bit more because arguably it's a very important topic when we're speaking about hybrids, because ultimately hybrids are more expensive than petrol models. So you need to know that you're going to make your money back somewhere, and we're hoping that will be in fuel. And I've got some real life figures for you because I've been driving this car for just under a week and I've done a combination of some motorway drives and also some shorter, lower speed drives. Now firstly, let's talk about those lower speed drives. So this is mostly sticking to 30 miles per hour, crawling through a bit of traffic, and I'm seeing kind of high 50 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. That really does save a lot of money when you compare it to some slightly less economical petrols. And this is where this car comes to light. Around town, those low speeds, you can drive a lot in your electric and that's going to save you a lot of money on fuel. However, it's not suited to long journeys. We've known this about hybrids for a while now, and again the HR-V does fall into this trap. Whilst on motorway journeys, my fuel economy dropped to low 40s. This isn't terrible and it's better than a lot of petrols, but ultimately, if you want to get the most out of this car, it's going to need to be done at low speeds around town. So sure, in my personal opinion, the Honda HR-V doesn't offer the most stylish or striking coupe SUV on the market. But what it does offer is exactly what Honda do best. It's fuss-free, it's uncomplicated, it's practical, and most of all, just like all the other Hondas on the market, it's pretty reliable. So it offers a really decent package, which I think is going to appeal to a lot of people. But let me know, is the Honda HR-V on your purchase list, or is there something above it? I'd love to know which one you're looking at going for. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Until next time guys, see you later.